Right now, in the hills of Silicon Valley and hidden facilities across America, 7 megaprojects are being built that will fundamentally reshape how humanity lives, works, and thinks. We're not talking about the next smartphone or social media app. These are infrastructure projects so massive, so technologically advanced, that they make the Apollo program look modest. The companies building them have more money than most countries, zero accountability, and ambitions that border on frightening. What I'm about to reveal will change how you see the future of technology forever. Project number 1 is OpenAI's Stargate, a supercomputer facility that represents the largest single investment in artificial intelligence infrastructure ever attempted. This isn't just a data center. We're talking about a $100 billion complex being built in Texas that will house the most powerful computing system ever created. The facility will consume more electricity than entire cities, drawing 5 gigawatts at peak operation. To put that in perspective, that's enough power to run 3 million homes. The scale is genuinely hard to comprehend. The main building covers an area larger than 50 football fields. The cooling system alone cost $8 billion and uses advanced liquid cooling technology never before deployed at this scale. The complex requires its own dedicated power substations and has backup power systems that could run a small country. Microsoft is the primary partner, investing tens of billions, but the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund and other Middle Eastern investors are also involved, which raises uncomfortable questions about who will control this technology. Why does Stargate matter? Because whoever controls the most powerful AI systems will control the future economy. This facility is being designed to train artificial general intelligence, the kind of AI that can match or exceed human capability across all domains. The companies building Stargate believe that AGI will be developed within the next 3 to 5 years, and they want to make sure they get there first. The geopolitical implications are staggering. This is the new nuclear arms race. Except the weapon isn't a bomb, it's intelligence itself. The construction timeline is brutally aggressive. Ground was broken in early 2024, and the first phase is scheduled to be operational by late 2025. That means building one of the most complex facilities on Earth in under 2 years. To achieve this, construction runs 24 hours a day with rotating crews. The project employs over 30,000 workers directly and supports hundreds of thousands of jobs in the supply chain. Critics warn that concentrating this much AI capability in the hands of a few private companies is dangerous. There's no meaningful government oversight. No democratic process decided this should be built. A handful of billionaires made the decision behind closed doors, and now they're creating technology that could make human labor obsolete, reshape warfare, and redefine what it means to be intelligent. The optimists say this will usher in an era of abundance and solve humanity's greatest challenges. The pessimists see an existential threat that we're building willingly. Project number 2 is Meta's Project Metis, a network of undersea fiber optic cables that will create a privately owned internet backbone spanning the entire globe. Mark Zuckerberg isn't satisfied with controlling social media. He wants to control the physical infrastructure that makes the internet possible. Meta is investing $70 billion to lay over 100,000 miles of fiber optic cable across ocean floors, connecting every continent with unprecedented bandwidth. This project is hiding in plain sight. Most people have no idea it's happening because it's not sexy like rockets or AI. But controlling internet infrastructure is arguably more powerful than any other technology. These cables will carry more than 70% of the world's internet traffic within a decade. Meta will own them outright. That means they'll have the technical capability to monitor, prioritize, or even block traffic. They claim they won't abuse this power, but history suggests otherwise. The engineering challenges are immense. Laying cable in the deep ocean means dealing with crushing pressure, extreme temperatures, and unpredictable geology. Navigate underwater mountain ranges, and avoid areas prone to earthquakes or volcanic activity. Each cable contains hundreds of fiber strands, each capable of transmitting data at terabits per second. The landing stations where cables come ashore are fortified facilities with security rivaling military bases. The geopolitical dimension is wild. These cables have to pass through the territorial waters of dozens of countries. Some governments are thrilled to have improved internet connectivity, others see it as American corporate imperialism, and are demanding data sovereignty guarantees. China has already announced it won't allow metacables to land on its shores, which is forcing the network to route around the world's most populous nation. This is creating a bifurcated internet, one connected to Western infrastructure and another connected to Chinese infrastructure. Meta started laying the first cables in 2023, and the network is scheduled to be substantially complete by 2030. The first Trans-Pacific cable went live in early 2024, and the bandwidth increase was immediately noticeable. Streaming services reported 50% faster load times in regions connected by the new infrastructure. But this speed comes at a cost. Meta now has unprecedented insight into global communications, and there's nothing stopping them from monetizing that data. Project number 3 is Google's Project Chorus, a constellation of 10,000 satellites designed to provide global internet coverage while simultaneously creating the most sophisticated surveillance network ever conceived. Google sold this as bridging the digital divide, bringing internet to remote areas. That's partially true, but the real purpose is far more ambitious and troubling. These satellites will have imaging capabilities that make current spy satellites look primitive. The constellation will operate in low Earth orbit, roughly 300 miles up, which is close enough to capture images with resolution measured in centimeters. Google claims this is for mapping and environmental monitoring. The technology could also be used for real-time tracking of vehicles, ships, aircraft, and even individual people. This creates the infrastructure for total surveillance of Earth's surface. The scale of the satellite deployment is unprecedented. SpaceX is handling the launches, sending up batches of 50 satellites at a time. The full constellation will be operational by 2027. Each satellite costs approximately $2 million to build, but the manufacturing has been automated to a degree never before achieved. Google built a factory in Nevada that produces satellites like cars on an assembly line. Robotic systems handle most of the construction, with human workers only supervising and performing quality control. The satellites themselves are technological marvels. They use ion propulsion for orbital adjustments, allowing them to stay in precise formation. They're equipped with laser communication systems that allow satellite-to-satellite data transmission at speeds far exceeding what's possible with ground stations. The solar panels use next-generation photovoltaic cells that are 30% more efficient than anything commercially available. Each satellite has a lifespan of approximately 7 years, after which it deorbits and burns up in the atmosphere, which means Google will need to continuously launch replacements to maintain the network. Privacy advocates are sounding alarms. The capability for continuous real-time monitoring of the entire planet raises questions that society hasn't grappled with. Google promises strict controls and says the imaging data will be anonymized and aggregated. But the technical capability exists to track individuals, and history shows that capabilities tend to get used, especially when governments come knocking with national security requests. Several countries have already announced they'll attempt to jam or disable satellites over their territory, which could spark the first space-based conflict. Project number 4 is Apple's Project Eden, a self-contained city being built in Nevada that will serve as both a manufacturing hub and a living laboratory for sustainable urban development. This isn't a campus. It's a complete city designed to house 300,000 people and manufacture virtually all Apple products for the North American market. The investment is estimated at $200 billion, making it one of the most expensive construction projects in human history. The city is being built from scratch in the Nevada desert, about 60 miles outside Las Vegas. Apple purchased nearly 200 square miles of land, an area larger than many American cities. The master plan calls for residential zones, commercial districts, parks, schools, hospitals, and of course, massive manufacturing facilities. The entire city will be carbon neutral, powered by solar farms and advanced nuclear reactors that Apple is developing in partnership with energy companies. The manufacturing facilities are the centerpiece. Apple is bringing chip fabrication, final assembly, and component manufacturing all under one roof. Most Apple products are assembled in China, which creates supply chain vulnerabilities and geopolitical dependencies. Project Eden is about vertical integration and self-sufficiency. The facilities will use advanced robotics and AI to automate most production, which means fewer human workers, but also means products can be built faster and cheaper than overseas factories. The residential areas are designed to attract workers by offering quality of life that major cities can't match. Housing is being built at cost, with no profit margin, meaning workers can afford homes on manufacturing wages. The city will have extensive public transportation, parks, cultural amenities, and fiber optic internet infrastructure that makes current broadband look prehistoric. Apple is essentially creating a company town for the 21st century, which excites some people and horrifies others. Construction began in 2023 and is proceeding at a pace that seems impossible. The first residential units were completed in mid-2024, and people are already moving in. The first manufacturing facility is scheduled to begin production in late 2025. Apple is using modular construction techniques, where building components are manufactured off-site and assembled like Lego blocks. This dramatically reduces construction time, but requires incredible precision and planning. Critics warn that a corporate-controlled city is dystopian. Apple will own the housing, the infrastructure, the stores, and the jobs. Residents will be entirely dependent on the company. What happens if Apple decides to cut jobs or shift production elsewhere? What happens to dissent when your employer is also your landlord and city government? Apple insists it's creating a model for sustainable urban development that other companies and governments will copy. The skeptics see a return to the company towns of the Industrial Revolution, where workers were exploited and had no real freedom, which is transforming into something far beyond a car factory. Elon Musk is building what he calls a manufacturing machine that makes machines. This facility will produce batteries, electric vehicles, solar panels, and energy storage systems at a scale never before attempted. The expansion involves adding 12 million square feet of manufacturing space, making it the largest factory footprint in the Western Hemisphere. The battery production capacity alone is staggering. The Texas Gigafactory will produce enough batteries annually to power 5 million electric vehicles. That's more battery production than the rest of North America combined. Tesla developed new manufacturing processes that reduce production time by 70% compared to traditional methods. The factory uses massive casting machines that create entire vehicle sections in single pieces, eliminating thousands of parts and hundreds of welding steps. Tesla is bringing mining, refining, cell production, pack assembly, and vehicle manufacturing all onto the same site. This reduces transportation costs and allows for rapid iteration on designs. When engineers discover an improvement, it can be implemented across the production line within days rather than months. The facility also includes a recycling center that can break down old batteries and recover 95% of the materials, creating a closed-loop system. The energy infrastructure supporting the factory is a project unto itself. Tesla built a solar farm covering several square miles that provides power during the day. At night, the factory runs on stored energy from massive battery installations that were built on site. The facility is designed to be entirely self-sufficient from an energy perspective, not relying on the Texas grid at all. This became crucial during the Texas power crisis of 2021 when the grid failed. But the Gigafactory kept running. Employment at the facility is approaching 50,000 workers, making it one of the largest private employers in Texas. The wages are competitive, and Tesla offers training programs that take people with no manufacturing experience and turn them into skilled technicians within months. The company is also pioneering the use of humanoid robots on the production line. Tesla's Optimus robots are being tested in various roles, and Musk predicts that within 5 years, robots will outnumber human workers in the facility. The timeline has been aggressive. Construction on the expansion began in 2023, and the first new production lines came online in early 2025. Tesla uses construction techniques borrowed from SpaceX, where speed is prioritized and traditional building codes are challenged. The company famously built the initial Gigafactory Texas structure in under 18 months, a timeline that construction experts said was impossible. Project number 6 is Amazon's Project Atlas, a nationwide network of automated fulfillment centers connected by autonomous vehicle corridors. This isn't just about faster delivery. Amazon is building infrastructure that will make traditional retail obsolete and create a logistics network that rivals the U.S. Postal Service in reach, but operates at 10 times the speed. The project involves building 500 new fulfillment centers across the United States, each one heavily automated with robotic systems that can process 1 million packages per day. These aren't warehouses with people picking items off shelves. These are robotic facilities where AI systems optimize inventory placement, robotic arms handle products, and autonomous vehicles move goods between stations. Human workers supervise and handle exceptions, but the bulk of the work is automated. Connecting these facilities are dedicated corridors for autonomous trucks. Amazon has partnered with several states to create highway lanes reserved for self-driving vehicles. These trucks operate 24 hours a day in continuous convoys, reducing wind resistance and maximizing fuel efficiency. Charged at Amazon-owned charging stations positioned every 100 miles along the routes. The entire system is managed by AI that optimizes routing in real time based on traffic, weather, and demand. 2. The scale of investment is mind-boggling. The company is essentially building parallel infrastructure to the traditional logistics system. The bet is that by controlling the entire supply chain from warehouse to doorstep, Amazon can reduce delivery times to hours rather than days and cut costs dramatically. The facilities themselves are architectural marvels. The newest ones are 5 stories tall with robotic systems that move vertically as well as horizontally. Inventory is stored in a 3-dimensional grid, and robots retrieve items by climbing the storage structures. The system is so efficient that the facilities can hold 3 times as much inventory in the same footprint as traditional warehouses. Climate control is zone-based, meaning only areas with temperature-sensitive products are cooled, saving enormous amounts of energy. Construction timelines are brutal. Amazon has perfected modular construction for these facilities. The structural components are manufactured in factories and trucked to sites where they're assembled in weeks rather than months. The company is building approximately 50 new facilities per year and is on track to complete the 500-facility network by 2030. The economic implications are enormous. Amazon is creating hundreds of thousands of jobs, but they're different jobs than traditional warehousing. The positions require technical skills, comfort with automation and adaptability. The company runs training programs to prepare workers, but there's concern about what happens to people whose skills don't transfer. The counter-argument is that the efficiency gains will lower costs for consumers and free up human labor for higher-value work. Project number 7 is Microsoft's Project Silica, an initiative to build glass-based data storage facilities that will preserve humanity's digital information for thousands of years. This sounds less exciting than AI or satellites, but it might be the most important project on this list. Digital data currently degrades rapidly. Hard drives fail, tapes degrade, and cloud storage requires continuous energy input. Microsoft is building a system that stores data in glass using laser etching at the molecular level. The technology encodes information in 3-dimensional patterns within glass plates. Each plate is roughly the size of a coaster, but can store terabytes of data. The information is retrieved using polarized light and AI-enhanced imaging systems. Once written, the data is effectively permanent. The glass can withstand extreme temperatures, electromagnetic pulses, water damage, and radiation. Testing suggests these glass archives will remain readable for 10,000 years or more. Microsoft is building 3 massive archive facilities in geologically stable locations. One in the Arctic, one in the Australian outback, and one deep in a mountain in Switzerland. Each facility will store copies of humanity's most important digital information, from scientific research to cultural artifacts to the entirety of human knowledge encoded in databases. The facilities are designed to be passively secure, requiring no power to preserve the data, only to write or read it. The implications are profound. For the first time in history, we can create truly permanent records of our civilization. Every book, every scientific paper, every piece of music and art can be preserved for future generations, or even future civilizations, if humanity doesn't survive. Microsoft is partnering with governments, universities, and cultural institutions to determine what gets archived. The selection process is inherently political, because deciding what's important enough to preserve for millennia is a value judgment. The cost of the project is approximately $40 billion spread over 20 years. The technology is still being refined, but the first commercial installations are already operational. The Arctic facility began accepting data in 2024, with major institutions like the Library of Congress and the European Space Agency among the first clients. The data is written to glass plates using femtosecond lasers that create tiny voids in the material arranged in patterns that encode information. Reading the data back requires sophisticated imaging systems that Microsoft is still developing, Current prototypes can read data at speeds comparable to modern hard drives. But the goal is to increase that by several orders of magnitude. The company is also working on AI systems that can understand and index the stored information, making it searchable across millennia. Imagine future archaeologists being able to query our entire digital civilization instantly. These 7 megaprojects represent trillions of dollars in investment and will employ millions of people during construction. They're being built by private companies with minimal government oversight and almost no public input. The people making decisions about these projects have extraordinary power to shape the future, yet they're accountable only to shareholders, not to democratic processes. This concentration of power in Silicon Valley is unprecedented in human history. The optimistic view is that these projects will solve major problems, create abundance, and push humanity forward. AI will cure diseases. Satellite internet will connect the world. Sustainable cities will show us how to live in harmony with the planet, and permanent archives will preserve our legacy. The pessimistic view is that we're building the infrastructure for corporate control of every aspect of human life, from the information we access to the products we buy to the cities we live in. What's certain is that these projects are happening whether we like it or not. The decisions have been made, the money is flowing, and the construction is underway. In 10 years, the world will look fundamentally different because of what's being built right now in Silicon Valley and beyond. The question is whether that difference will be the utopia the builders promise or the dystopia the critics fear.